the spirit coach, getting your ass in shape and for the age of Aquarius yet again. You're now drinking the wine of Zeus. The wine of Zeus. The wine of Zeus. Welcome to motherfucking deer season. You know what I'm saying? The native deer sign. We gonna break down the native deer sign, what motherfuckers should be tuned into, you know what I'm saying, with the native deer sign and things of that nature. Get motherfuckers on the court. You know what I'm saying? So, go ahead, go outside, sit your ass on ground, sit your ass in the environment and things. You're gonna see it's the end of spring and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna feel like the end of spring for you. So just get ready for that. Just get ready for that. Breathe. It's about air. You know what I'm saying? It's about information. It's about communication and things of that nature. So we're going to build a little bone structure. You know what I'm saying? We're going to build a little calcium, phosphate, and stuff like that in this deer season. You got to run with the pack. You know what I'm saying? You got to show your bones. You got to show your antlers and stuff like that. Why you was able to be a human or something like that. Like why you was able to exist and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So actually your physical can have some type of strength too and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Your bones make the physical, you know what I'm saying? The bones make the physical worthwhile of experiencing and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So it give it some type of density. It give it some type of harshness. You know what I'm saying? So that's what the deers represent and things. And you can see the deers, they have that on the external too and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So they like to connect with that internal, process a little more. So curious, you know, how to become more secure and shit like that. So that's why they got the motherfucking securing of the head and also the securing of, they pack. So you got to run with your pack too. Don't be running off in other motherfuckers' pack. What is you doing in other motherfuckers' pack? You know what I'm saying? You got to be in your motherfucking pack and shit like that. So we see everybody packs and who they running with now too and stuff like that. You can't just be a streamer online or something like that and just be doing some dumb shit either and stuff like that. Because now we going to see, you know what I'm saying, if you don't have the mentality of, okay, I'm finna get done, especially like if you look like a black person. You know what I'm saying? Even a white person, y'all get psyop too, but if you look like a black person or something, you can't just be thinking the world regular and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? You gotta go into it with the mind of I'm finna get motherfucking played. I'm finna get psyop. The feds get it. If you go into the motherfucking shit happy go lucky, it's either two things. One, you know what I'm saying? You naive and you don't care or something like that, and you don't need to have attention anyway. Or the second thing is your ass may be gay a little bit. I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? You may be ready to bump butts with Diddy or something like that. Nice try, Fetty. You know what I'm saying? Nice try, Fetty. Nice try, Fetty. You know what I'm saying? This deer season though. So, you know what I'm saying? You want to build more bone density and stuff like that, so your man can have some type of something to stand on. You know what I'm saying? Got something to stand on, something to feel. You know what I'm saying? When it comes across your thoughts and your feels and shit like that. And Gemini is about you gonna be familiar and getting more familiar with your environment. How is your environment seen? What are the things that you keep in your motherfucking environment? What are the things you keep in your motherfucking? You know what I'm saying? Nice try, Diddy. Nice try, Fetty. Shout out to everybody in the chat too. You know what I'm saying? What are the things you keep in your motherfucking environment? And thing, you know what I'm saying? Is that something? What is it? What is it? Right now, it's gonna be filtered through the energy of the house lord that is the ruler of Gemini, which is uh, Mercury. I'm sorry, right? Mercury is communication, so it's information, it's idealization and shit like that. So there's going to be a lot of need to you know produce air. You know what I'm saying? And air is that quality where we have information and we might not be as stable as we was just in Taurus season as far as like things feeling internally uh like it's moving on a slower pace. You know what I'm saying? Things are going to be a little bit more sped up and things, and we're going to use a lot of that the air qualities and the mutable air, which is not being in one thought. You know what I'm saying? Able to adapt and switch up and utilize that for our expression of getting familiar, you know what I'm saying, with or making another familiar with our environment. Therefore, we share environments and we share talents and shit like that, and we share blood. You know what I'm saying? Well, we share ideas and imagination, and that can come down here as, us being, connected in some way. You feel me? And we can be powerful in the sense of we can create something that now our body, what I'm saying, our mental body, right? It got some type of, you know, attribute to it where it's able to still be felt and shit like that. And that's the bone. That's the bone allegory for, uh, what I'm saying, um, deer and shit like that. And deers ain't carnivore like that either. So they eat more like, lighter foods like shit from trees and shit like that as well. And these things help them, uh, run their organ system sufficiently and shit like that. So, that's why the Native Americans, we correlate it to the deer. But, as far as getting on the track of, Gemini season and what this means for you and shit, how will you be seen for your environment and shit like that? So is you into, um, when you get seen for your environment, are you making that environment make things more simple? You know what I'm saying? Or are you making it more hard for your environment? You know what I'm saying? You don't want to make it more hard. Gemini likes familiarity. So it's about making things more simple and things, you know what I'm saying? So that way, you know, it can be a each one teach one. You might be somebody in the chat, or something like that, not knowing what the fuck you talking about or something, or you might be knowing like, you a real one. But for the most part, this is just the things that you gotta digest and shit like that. And I ain't talking about nobody in here, but you know how trolls like to do and shit like that. They like to hop into my shit and troll and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all my native and shout out to all the GSNA too. You know what I'm saying? Grand Star Nation Association. That's how we come in. That's what we provide and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Real way, real types of vibe type of things. So yeah, you got to understand though, as a community, that's going to be one of the things and the main topics is too. So you're going to be sharing what you learned about your community and things, and you're going to be seeing how that look, and figuring out how that should look. You know what I'm saying? And for the most part, it requires your participation. So you can't be stuck in the old ways of thinking and shit like that. We got a new time. They put new shit on y'all shit. You know what I'm saying? There's new foreigners. There's all type of groups over here in America. You know what I'm saying? So that's what you need to know. Gentrification is a motherfucking process of colonization and shit like that. And that shit been happening since the white man got over here with the natives and shit like that. So that's what you need to know. It's a process. So, new communities coming in and shit like that. New people from different backgrounds and things and they always trying to get rid of the native sentiment and things, which is, goddamn, can we own some shit too, right? Let's make it simple. Can we own some shit too? It's not even can we own some shit. Why we gotta ask y'all? It's our land and shit like that. And then compromise the spiritual system by going against it and shit, try to make fun of it, yet while still being cursed. That's why you got all the money and shit like that. Why you never happy, and all of your motherfucking people express that same sentiment. So it only come from the source of the person that had that thought. They was in misery too. You know what I'm saying? But this all lets you know that we going through these changes and shit. You know what I'm saying? For the most part, that's gonna help us. It's gonna put us in a situation where we gotta, switch it up and things of that nature. How we coming at things and how we're approaching things, and be a little bit more, smart and intelligent about the thing. So any motherfucker that y'all see that's hopping on here screaming and shit like that, you know what I'm saying? That's just happy-go-lucky. Them either foreigners, you know what I'm saying? They low key behind, and they in the closet. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. They in the closet, so they don't want to come out. Like, ain't nothing wrong with being who you are, but you know what I'm saying. But if you in the closet, that's another thing. You know what I'm saying? So they in the closet, so they just willing to do, you know what I'm saying, the little rituals and stuff like that, whatever. Or three, they they just shouldn't be in that position because they getting picked and stuff like that, and they don't know and things. But ain't no regular person just so happy go lucky to be in the industry if they ain't one of them things. They a foreigner, you know what I'm saying? If you ain't approaching it to like I'm approaching it, like obviously, like I'm not trying to be in the industry. I create my own industry, but if you ain't not approaching it like I'm approaching it, like hey, you know, like coming expose and shit like that, like you know what I'm saying, letting motherfuckers know what it is ahead of time and things of that nature, then you kind of cap, you know what I'm saying, because we kind of know your motives. You got like secret motives and shit like that, but we only know them motives don't lead to nowhere because basically me and my spirits like myself then kind of mapped it out and gave y'all the game on how what it is and what they doing. So therefore, you just somebody that's just in them desires and trying to use it for a desire of yours. And one of them is you in the closet. The other one is you some foreigner that came after the fact. So you don't know the history of America and how they use puppets and people like that. Or three, you know what I'm saying, your ass just retarded and getting picked for some type of shit like that, and you was just it's probably nepotism. But those are the only three. Ain't nobody happy to be in the motherfucking music or entertainment industry right now. Ain't nobody don't nobody want the number one spot and shit like that. Now if they in it, you know what I'm saying, already and shit like that, they didn't already probably, you know what I'm saying, they didn't already did some rituals and shit like that. They didn't already did some. They didn't already did it. Smooth sailing. Smooth sailing. So, this is motherfucking Gemini season and things. You know what I'm saying? Your thought gotta be strong to the motherfucking bone because it's deer season too and shit like that. So you want to see your thoughts and shit. Make sure your thoughts. Hold on. Mm. And that's just the main priority. You know what I'm saying? Focus on how your motherfucking environment is seen and your shit is connected. Don't let no motherfucker tell you what the fuck your environment is and you got motherfucking two eyes, you know what I'm saying? A motherfucking mouth, motherfucking hair. You know what I'm saying? You can pick out just like them and know what the fuck is not. No, you doing that for some purpose. You doing that for some retarded purpose that ain't got nothing to do with nothing and just your desire. So that's where, you know what I'm saying? Just where you're gonna be left out. You know what I'm saying? You ain't going with the holy ones. You know what I'm saying? You ain't going with the holy ones. You're gonna be cursed. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna be cursed. You're gonna be cursed. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna take you a long time to find out too how that motherfucking curse work. Mm. You know what I'm saying? Good old native curse on you. Good old native curse. You know what I'm saying? Good old native curse. We back. We back. But yeah, see these things people can pay attention to and things, I said to just kind of refresh them and put their spirit in a more positive position and things, you know what I'm saying, aka become more familiar with your environment. And it's not only about how you think, it's about you serving yourself and others, you know what I'm saying, within y'all communication and thought and shit like that. And that's how we can all come together and be on one accord, you know what I'm saying, spiritually, you know in a season and shit like that. Now, it's all things. Now, it's other attributes, and this shit always easier said than done and things. So you want to make sure you're on point. You know what I'm saying? You got you a good tribe and things, whether it's your astrologer, you know what I'm saying, or your motherfucker, your physical therapist and things of that nature. And if you in the new world and shit like that, you may be compromised so much, um, via the government and stuff like that. And you might have to do that in a new way. So you might have to use different tools and things of that nature in different ways, where you got to adapt and be like a new version of these things and shit like that, where we done. But it don't really matter what shape and form you in, based upon the energy that you animate within yourself as a spirit is always going to attract you to them things that represent, you know what I'm saying, those things that people try to block you from, especially if you dealing with all possibilities and shit like that, and keeping that on your mind and shit, and not letting these motherfuckers stop you. You know what I'm saying? That's how you go. Just never be stopped and shit. Never be stopped. Never be stopped. Okay. So so make sure you keep that on your mind too, and things. For the most part, we got Mercury and Taurus right now. So things are still. It's not. I wouldn't say it's as creative as we would like it to. It's still about logic, and still about finding. You know, this at the with Taurus season. It was about grounding the aspects of ourselves and being a piece, creating ourselves as a piece of something. But for us to do that, we had to do things that like our hard work. You know what I'm saying, or create a sense of safety for ourselves. But be the avid worker of that safety and shit like that. You know what I'm saying, via the seeds you gonna sow and you deem and you want to produce and things. And now, so we're going into Gemini season and shit like that. And this is the end of that cycle, the end of spring, where we're starting to see the peace that we became and starting to share that with others amongst each other and shit like that. And that will represent what any vision that you had on your mind. So we had the start of spring Aries season, you know what I'm saying, where we sparked this imagination or sparked a new person or sparked a new individuality that we wanted to be. And then we had Taurus season, where that cooled off and shit like that. And actually we had to actually ground that by doing the things, doing supporting that. And then boom, Gemini season, we here and shit like that. So y'all just look out. Make sure you follow me on all my social medias, because I'm on various types of vibes, giving information. I'm not just on one. I'm on multiple and things. You know what I'm saying? So different messages and shit like that here and there. But we got the Grand Star Nation Association. So this is going to be a new mission, and the new mission is to discredit racism and shit like that. And I don't think that's nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? Everybody should discredit racism and things, and actually why it don't make sense. So you got to do it from an intellectual standpoint and things. You know what I'm saying? So even Elon Musk, he getting discredited and shit like that by white women on motherfucking stage, getting discredited and stuff like that. He talking about some, well, it makes sense in this aspect. And he gonna talk about, oh, so you like racist laws? Man, don't act like the government ain't upholding racist laws right now. We're not even giving the natives no fair share and shit like that. Y'all be going shaking hands with Saudi Arabia, Russia, Pakistan, all type of shit and stuff like that. I don't see no shaking the hands with no Native American and shit like that. Give us motherfucking our property back. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to hear none of that shit. None of them boohooing, trying to find a way, trying to find where y'all doing racism so we can feel better about our self energies. I don't want to hear that shit. Trying to find where y'all racist so we can feel better about ourselves energies. Man, don't nobody want to hear that shit. You know what I'm saying? Elon Musk crying, getting treated and stuff like that. Get off the stage, man. Get off the stage and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? What is our tax dollars going to you for when it could be going to other shit? You know what I'm saying? That improve things like this and stuff like that. Better in a community or something like that. And shooting rockets off in the sky and stuff like that, when we could be, you know what I'm saying, partnership and stuff and like that. You don't go like that. You know what I'm saying? No, fuck what you got to talk about. You know what I'm saying? Go back to Africa. Get back on the boat. Go back to Africa, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Go back to Africa, nigga. I told y'all the white people was the real niggas. I told y'all the white people was the real nigga. But yeah, man, you know what I'm saying? It's Kelsito, man. So this is a little 15-minute and things of that nature. And we gonna bow back in. You know what I'm saying? Bow back in. Get your